Good afternoon. I hope you had a very good interaction with our faculty in the last 5 days. Was it useful? Very useful. Thank you so much. For this short valedictory function, let me invite our faculty colleague who is here amongst the four of us, Mr. Banka and Mr. Bakshi, to kindly join me on the stage here. Before I take my 10 minutes to speak out my mind, let me request first the MHRD organizer, Mr. Bakshi, to say a few words about his concluding thoughts on this entire effort, and then I'll request Mr. Banka to share his experiences as a teacher. Bakshi sir.
Respected Professor Phatak sir, Mr. Banka and friends. In the feedback session already I have communicated certain things. I want to reiterate certain things again. See, ministry is strongly in favor of implementation of accounting standards. The might of the ministry is behind us. So, it will be appreciated if all of you, after being enriched in this training program, go back to your respective institutes and diligently works to implement the accounting standards. During the tea break, I have received a number of requests that there should be a training program on practical issues. Yes, we can organize it, provided we know the problems. What are the problems? First we should know, and on the basis of that problems or the number of problems, we can have workshop how to solve the problems. So, when you go back to your respective institutes, send the list of the problem and then we will try to analyze it and we will consult IASEI and try to find out a solution, and if necessary we will organize a workshop. In the last 5 days, a lot of things have been discussed. You may feel that in 5 days so many things have been given to you, and it is very difficult to absorb number of things. Many of you might be finding it very difficult to absorb because we have discussed a large number of standards. One standard itself is a big things, but it is not that difficult. If you just go to the IASEI site, you will find a soft copy of the standards and it is free. You do not have to pay a rupee. All these materials are available in IASEI site. Download each and every standard and read it at your leisure. You do not have to read immediately. If necessary, take a printout and read at your leisure time, and gradually you pick up. So, many of the things are available in IASEI site and these are all freely available, no cost is involved. Besides, if any other things are required, we are there in the ministry. Ministry is committed, ministry is sincere. As I said, our minister is actually the motivating force. So, we are there to help you. We just want to be with you. If you have anything to do by the ministry, feel free to share your views with me so that we can take immediate and prompt actions. Ministry is quite concerned also. The other day when I met secretary, he asked me a pointed question. Are you happy with your job? I said no. Because we are not getting the output as we expected. We are not getting the response as we expected. So I said, I am not happy with the present job. So sometimes I also feel frustrated that my entire efforts, my entire labor is going waste. Sometimes I feel that there is a systematic way to scuttle the things. It seems some people do not want to implement it. but it will create a very negative impression in the ministry. You may not be knowing many things as we know in the ministry. Ministry does not have a very high opinion about the accounting and financial management of most of the institutes. Ministry does not have a very high opinion, as I say it again. So this is the way to reform your accounting system. This is the way to bring a good governance in the account and finance branch of your institutes, bring more transparency, bring more accountability. Besides, you should also believe that it is a public money you are dealing. It is not your own money. It is public fund. As a custodian of public fund, you are utilizing the public fund for a cause and you are bound to give account of your activity. So, it would be welcome if you take it seriously, take it as an obligation that it is a public fund and you are working for a cause. Until and unless you have that commitment, you will not be able to have the desired result. Thank you.
I've been speaking a lot since past 4 days. I'll just end this with a big thank you to all of you. I had a wonderful time here. I am probably the youngest in this room and I got to learn a lot with the discussions we had in the last 4-5 days. Thank you so much for all of that. Thank you.
I stand here with a mixed feeling. As I told you, I have no clue on the knowledge of accounting or anything like that. And IIT Bombay does not have regular professors except in our School of Management, but they also deal mostly with finance and partly with accounts, but at an academic level. This was a unique workshop where day-to-day activities, the normal activities were being discussed. And once again, I would like to thank the ICAI colleagues for sparing their valuable time to come and spend lecturing and giving details to you. I also thank the ministry for taking this initiative. But I would like to leave behind a few ideas which are not necessarily connected with the detailed technical studies that you did here for 5 days on accounting practices. But this is more about how the accounting is perceived and is used by others. I am a user of the accounting system in my own institute, for example, and there would be several other faculty members and students in your colleges who will be users. And the second, I wanted to tell you that while you might belong to the field of accounting, please remember that you can make significant contributions in any other areas because you deal with so many other areas, so many people in different areas, and do not therefore limit your thinking and your dreaming only to your field. Just to excite you about such possibilities, I will share with you an anecdote. This is about the innovation. Ordinarily, we ascribe any innovation to scientists and researchers and so on. But the fact of life is that innovative ideas could come from absolutely anybody, anywhere, and in any field. So I'll tell you about an innovation which contributed to significant saving of money by the British Exchequer during the Second World War. There was a factory which used to make nitrates. You know ammonia factories. Okay, we use that as there were a lot of complaints about the quality of the ammonium nitrate that was being produced, and there were a whole lot of impurities due to which the industry which was using this to produce shells and other things for the army were not able to do that. So the British government appointed a committee to relook at all the factories. Now the committee obviously had some top chemical engineers, the other scientists and so on. But because money was involved, because money had to be spent ultimately to repair or do whatever, there was a person like you, an accounting expert appointed by the Chancellor of Exchequer, the British finance. This accountant obviously was completely at sea because people were discussing formulas and pipelines and diagrams and so on. And he used to scribble something, he used to listen to them. Whenever something came that we will have to implement this and we will have to put some new equipment or something, suddenly his antennas would stand up and say, "Kitna paisa lagega?" And he would make some notes somewhere. So he was basically looking at the aspects related to finance and account. But after some time he discovered that people were not able to conclude, all the experts were not able to conclude as to what was the basic reason for these impurities. So he was writing something on his notepad. He said, "I tried to remember the chemistry from my school days." Now they kept talking about carbon impurity, carbon impurity, carbon impurity. And I said, nitrate should have nitrogen, okay, nitrate should have oxygen. ये कार्बन कहाँ से आया? So he raised one question feebly. They said, no, you don't know anything. He kept quiet. Then he went back home and asked his son, who was a junior college science student. He says, ये मेरे को बताओ ये nitrate का formula, what is the nitrate formula? So he discovered there is no carbon there. Then next day, he says, "Gentlemen, you are all great scientists and researchers. I don't understand anything. But just tell me something. You say there is a huge carbon impurity. Please tell me what are the inputs which are going into your chemical reaction which contain carbon?" So they said, no, there is nothing like that. But you know, when you take the natural air, there is some carbon dioxide. He says, no, I have heard you very clearly that the proportion of carbon dioxide that comes in after filtering is very minimal. So it cannot cause this much amount. He says, I may not understand science, but I understand amounts. Small amount, big amount. There is a problem. Then somebody says, all right, let us look at it. And the entire committee then started re-looking at the whole thing. And do you know what they found? In the large pipelines, there are valves and there are pumps and so on. And for lubrication of those pumps, you require some lubricant. That lubricant is hydrocarbon, it is oil. Now the oil does not normally mix with the gases which are flowing through the pipeline. There are seals and so on. They inspected factories and they found that several seals were broken. And this lubricant was seeping into the pipeline. It was getting gasified and that was causing the entire impurity set in the whole thing. Finally, the committee had already deliberated for 15 days, but after they inspected it, they wrote a short report, all seals to be replaced. The original plan of the committee was to spend some 3.5 million pounds to replace major equipment. The entire cost of replacing all oil seals in the three important factories came to about 1,200 pounds. One accountant saved that much money by actually making an innovative suggestion in an area in which he had absolutely no clue on. Only because he kept thinking about what was happening and he kept asking questions. Now you people are good at asking questions, I know that because my accounting team asked me questions. But the questions that you should ask need not be limited only to the specific domain. Because you deal with various courses, various fields, various faculties, electrical engineering, chemical engineering, civil engineering, science, maths, etc., and you will keep hearing about various things. You would definitely be making your own opinions. I am not suggesting start doing innovations in electrical engineering or some such thing. I am just saying keep your minds, ears and eyes open, and you never know where you could make a very significant contribution. These are the days when the entire academic unit has to work as a single entity to discharge its duties effectively. And if we work in silos as faculty, as technical staff, as administrative staff, as accounts people, these silos sometimes hinder the smooth work. I am perhaps very fortunate. In IIT Bombay, I have worked for the last 45 years, and I tell you I am very, very proud of our administrative backup system and particularly proud of our accounting system. I will tell you a couple of instances. When I was Dean of Resources, I used to spearhead getting donations from our alumni. Now when the alumni would give donations, the donation money will come here. It is from my accounts and finance staff that I learned that the money must be immediately invested. We should not keep it pending. And you know the efficient system that they had set up? Not more than 24 hours the money will lie in an ordinary account. Not more than 24 hours. They will ask for cash planning. Mr. Dean, where do you want to spend money? When do you want to spend money? This money has to be spent on the Kanwal Rekhi building. After 3 months, let us put it in 3 months FD. This money is required after 6 months, let us put it in. Now I say, Arey yaar, but suppose suddenly something is required, don't worry, we'll get back. But that money being invested is more important than money lying idle. Simple thing which I learned from my accounting staff. And I tell you absolutely efficiently, I am very proud of my institute that accounting wise or money usage wise, not a single paisa is left in Hawaii. That is one. The second thing I would like to tell you is perhaps more mundane and more operational, but I would request you to consider what I am saying, because lives of a whole lot of other people, faculty, students, staff, depend upon the smooth operations. Let me start with the forms that need to be filled up. TA bill form, okay, joining report form, okay, a form of opening the bank account, informing this, etc. A number of forms should be there. How many of you have these forms available online which people can download? Good number, but not all. If and when I meet you next time, I should be forced to ask a question, how many of you do not yet have these forms online? And there only these few hands should come up. Why? Because please understand, your time and my time that is lost. I have to come to you to collect a form. You have to spend 2 minutes to speak to me. You have to search that form and give it to me. The computerization is not only about effectiveness and efficiency of the normal processes. It is also about optimizing people's time. In our Dean R&D's office, all our advance requests are made online. The approvals are made online. A paper is signed post facto to keep legal signature in place. But the process is done so rapidly that within 24 hours, our advance is ready. It is automatically put into the bank account of the principal investigator. The principal investigator can disburse money direct. Now, these are some of the things which even IIT Bombay has learned through hard work and a lot of hard experience. But I would humbly suggest that if you forget the harder computerization of your accounts, that should follow in due course of time, as you would have learned from here. But at least the simple things, if you can ensure within the next 6 months, and I would like you to take the lead, I would like you to go back and tell the director of your institute, tell the deans of your institute, that it is possible to maintain all required information online. It is possible for all staff, students and everyone to download forms. It is possible for people not to come to the cash section at all. Not to come to the cash section at all. Because that is so much of wasteful. Your time is wasted, that person's time is wasted, is waiting for either collecting cash or depositing cash. Try to use the computerized methods, one, for of course the hardcore accounting, which is your bread and butter activity, but two, also to simplify life for yourselves and for all your colleagues. I tell you, life becomes so much smoother, things happen so much faster if some simple things are done. I would just leave these ideas with you. There is much more to be done. As I said, unfortunately, I am not an expert in your area of work, but from whatever I have seen from my own colleagues here, as I said, I have been extremely proud of all of them. For 45 years, I am seeing different deputy registrar, finance and accounts. But each one is extraordinary, has been extraordinary in due diligence, in delivery of service, efficient and effective service, and of course, excellent relationship with people. I am sure the same thing obtains at all of your institutions, but please try to help by insisting that to the extent an automation can be simply done and can be useful to people, it is we who insist. That is what you should tell your directors and others. Let the initiative come from the accounting. That's all I will say. Thank you very much for coming here.